Hi there, my name is Marco, and I would like to show you my proposal for, uh, I think, quite cool format for a 48 team World Cup. You know, there are a lot of discussions now because of the expansion of the World Cup. The FIFA plans to expand the World Cup from 32 teams at the moment to 48, so these are 16 teams more. But 48 is a mm, odd number when it comes to breaking it down into a tournament format. So I like to give you a proposal, which I think, and I got some feedback that it is really nice, and I would like you to have a look on it and maybe you like it also and give me some feedback on it. So we face 10 big challenges at the moment because there is the urge to increase the number of participants at the World Cup to 48. There are nations who would like to participate, and for also financial reasons, it makes sense to increase the teams at the World Cup. So I think this is set that we want to have 48 nations at the World Cup, but we want to keep that what is uh, pleasant with our current format, and we don't want to give it up. And all the other modi that has been presented with 16 teams with 16 groups with 3 teams all have some arts behind it. I would like to explain it here. Okay, we have the first challenge, 48 nations. The second challenge is the duration should not exceed 1 month. The current World Cup has 1 month, and the players are already dried out when it starts. So to extend it up to 2 months or so cannot be a solution for it. Third point, the number of total matches, that's also resulting from my bullet point number 2, is the total number of matches should not increase. It should be capped as low as possible. At the moment we have 64 matches at a World Cup with 32 teams, and well, I will show here a modus that has 88 matches. So it's 24 matches more, which is, I think, handleable within a tournament. Next point, unfair advantages. In earlier World Cups, we had the situation that the last group matches were not held in parallel. So there were 4 teams in a group. And let me explain it. For example, one team has played in the afternoon and the other team has played in the evening. The match has been played in the evening. And those teams who played the last match knew how to play and what result they need for both to advance. We have one big example for that, and this is World Cup 82. Gijon, everyone who is a bit into football knows about that, and this point covers it. Fifth point on my list is a problem that even occurs today is that the lineup in the last matches are sometimes not the full strength team because you have one team that has advanced already, so it put its reserve players on the field, and this is also some kind of mismatch and some kind of unfairness. And I will show you here that the new system will catch up with that and will get rid of it. And this is a big advantage, even compared to the 32 team World Cup. Sixth point, no cross group comparisons. We knew Euro 2016, 24 teams, first 2 advance of each group, and the 4 best runners up of 6 runners ups, not runners up, third place teams. So, big problem calculating, and always the teams who have played in the first groups who have already finished are on the worse end because all other teams know how to play to avoid being eliminated, and which result they really need. So here it also goes, we want to omit this. Seventh point, keep intervals between back-to-back matches balanced. We do not want to have a schedule where a team has to play on a Monday and a Wednesday and then maybe 1 week break and then on the next Wednesday. This is arithmetic, and we want some rhythm with it within, and my schedule that I will show you here will have this in mind. Eighth point, minimum number of matches should be at least 3. There were some proposals now, like a playoff to break down from 48 teams to 32 teams with 16 teams seeded. So this would mean that that 16 teams will only have one single match and then go home. So why should they come to the World Cup? They have to make preparations. They have to get some staff. They have to organize everything, and then they go, and also the fans go there for just one match and then go home. No, that cannot be the case. Minimum of 3 matches is a challenge that I wanted to handle in my proposal. Ninth point: keep the number maximum of matches at 7 at maximum. We have that today, even, and it should not exceed. 10th challenge, big challenge: ensure the final draw to create balanced groups, not uneven groups, which might be the case if you have 16 teams per pot and draw out three groups of 3 with 16 teams per pot. Then you might get quite unbalanced groups. You think this is not possible within a format? I tell you it is possible, and I will show you that I have here a format that handles all these big 10 challenges and will cope with it. But, and this is a big but, you have to die one death, as we say in German. Ein Tod muss man sterben. And this is, you need to get away to sacrifice the standard of having round-robin matches during the group phase. If you omit this, and this has been the case once in World Cup history, it has been the case in 1954. It has already been the case, and I think it is something that we can omit. We don't need it. And there are other sports, like especially for the NFL, and I think also in the NBA, where not everyone is playing everyone throughout the group phase or the regular season. We have omissions there, and in NFL you have 16 match days, but you have 32 team franchises, and there is a logic algorithm who defines who plays who, and nothing else is handled here, nothing else. So we are coming to the details. The new group phase. Let me first explain the current group phase. You have it here on the left side, standard. For example, we have a group A, and we have teams A1, A2, A3, and A4 from 4 pots, various strengths. And then you have the schedule, 6 matches, match 1, A1 versus A2, match 2, A4 versus A3, and so on. And you have the last 2 matches on the same date, on the same time, match 5 and match 6, in parallel, so there's no fixing or playing for specific results. And then, here on the right side, there you see it, the new 48 team modus that I propose here. What is the difference? Well, you can see we have not 4 teams, we have 6 teams. But these 6 teams are drawn in 2 pools. And 2 of 16 pools are always combined together, and we call them twin pools. So we have, here in this example, we have pool A1 and we have pool A2. So pool A1 has teams A1 X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z stands for the new pots in the new mode and various strengths. So X are the top teams like Brazil, like Argentina, like Germany, and so on. Y are some mediocre teams like maybe say Mexico, Denmark, and so on. And Z are some outsiders like from Asia, from Africa, from Oceania maybe. So these are the different strengths. And each pool has 1 team from each pot. So, and like I said, we create twin pools. These 2 pools are combined together, A1 and A2, and they create a hex, a hexagonal. We know this term from qualifying in the CONCACAF region, so I took this one, hex, and this is hex A. And as you can see, we have 9 matches. We don't have 50 matches, because if you play 6 teams in a round-robin format, then you have 50 matches. But no, we reduce the number of matches. We come down and break it down to 9 matches. So your question now is probably, who defines who plays who? Well, it's quite simple, and let me explain it to you. There are 2 variations of it. Here, what is here shown is the first variation of how to combine this schedule for a hex. And let me explain it to you. You have here every team of a pool plays against each other. So you have three matches there from A1X versus Y, A1X versus A1Z, and A1Y versus A1Z. And they are here. Match 1, match 6, and match 7. You have the same for pool A2. So additional 3 matches makes it up to 6. So where are the 3? What is the third match for each team? And this is simply a simple algorithm. It is a crossover. And in this crossover, you make a crossover that you say you have a match A1X plays A2Z, A1Y plays A2Y, and A1Z plays A2X. These are the 3 additional matches. So every team plays against each contender of its own pool, plus 1 match against an opponent of the twin pool. That's the simple algorithm behind it, and it is broken down here to this schedule with 9 matches. And as you can see, it is arranged like that you here has the last match day with match 7, 8, and 9 in this hex on the same date in parallel. It will be a big show with a conference, I would say in English, simulcast and suspense and changes in the table, because all these 6 teams within a hex create one table of 6 teams. I will show you an example later. So like I said, this is variation 1. There's a second variation of combination I'll show you later. Let's come back to our 10 big challenges. 4 of these challenges we can sign off now. We have 48 teams, because let me go back, of course, a hex of 6, and if you have 8 hexes with 6 teams, then you have 48 teams. Hex A to hex H. So 48 teams are there. We have no cross-group comparisons. We have 8 hexes. The first 2 teams advance to the round of 16. So we have 16 teams in the round of 16. That's it. No comparison between groups. We don't have unfair advantages by playing later than other teams, because as you can see, all the 3 matches within a hex are played at the same date, at the same time. So there's no possibility of fixing or playing for specific results or tactically on the cost of other teams who have already finished. Great thing. And we have our 8th challenge here that we also have covered. Every team has 3 matches, a minimum. These 3 matches are guaranteed for the team, for the players, for the fans of the teams, for the fans at home, and this will support this format because everyone who is participating will love it. Let's go back to some details. How to seed. How can we seed in such a format? Well, let me simply give here an example on how I will seed. Like I said, we have top seeds, X, we have mid-strength teams, Y, and we have maybe low-ranked teams, Z. And of course, like always done in the past, these pots need to be created not only because of strength, but also because of confederation confederation rules, because you want to avoid that several teams of a specific configurations are drawn together into a group. So this is a variation of it, how to handle this. And the idea behind is that you have a hex created of a team of each of these 6 sub-pods, pod 1 to pod 6. So in each hex you have one top-ranked FIFA team, you have a highly ranked FIFA team, you have one team from the rest of Europe, one additional CONCACAF and CONMEBOL team, you have one African team, and you have one from Asia, Oceania. So that is a really mixture over for each hex. Each hex has some equal quality, strength, and regional coverage, global coverage. So let's go back to our list of 10 big challenges, and you can see this 10th point is checked. Now we have created balanced group regional wise and strength wise. let's go back to the schedule. Big point. You may wonder, you have 88 games, how to compress this into 1 month? How is it possible? And I'll show you how. Here we have our groups A to H, not groups, let me be precise, our hexes A to H. We have here a schedule for the year 2026, and we have on the first day, let's say we have 3 matches, the opening match of the World Cup, 2 additional matches, and then from there on you have on every day you have 5 matches. This is quite dense. I don't know how FIFA will handle it. Maybe they make parallel matches also, but you can cover it. Okay, you can, if you start on noon time, then you are finished with your 5th match late in the evening. It will be a full day of sports, but you have something like that at the Olympics too, so why not? Why not? And the football is watched around the world, so it's not noon to evening or noon to night all over the world at a specific place, but in the different time zones it will be maybe on different times. I mixed that up, but never mind. I think you understand what I mean. So as you can see, on Thursday 25th of June, we are through with the group phase. So this is not more than in the current format. And you will see on the second slide here, the rest of it is as today. Nothing changed. Round of 16, you even have days off with no matches. This is standard. Nothing changed here compared to the 32 team World Cup in the recent editions. And as you can see by the numbers, you finished after 1 month with match 88. So let's sum it up. Match count, 88 matches. Group phase increased from 48 matches to 72 matches. This is quite much. I can understand it, but like I said, you have last matches in each hex in parallel, so it will not feel like so many new matches because matches are played in parallel. Then you have tournament days, 31 in my example. It's -1 to the World Cup in Brazil 2014. But of course it can be maybe broadened a bit. Maybe FIFA wants to don't have 5 matches per day. Okay, then of course you can widen it a bit up, but it can be compressed into 1 month, as you can see it. The minimum number of matches per day is 1, like at the final, semi-final and 3rd place match, and the maximum is 5. Today it is 4, it has been 4 at World Cup in Brazil, but okay, we would have 1 match more, and this would be a standard for every day in my format. And like here, the second point here is maximum matches per day, because there were kickoff times per day, and the matches per day is increased to 6. Okay, this is on the days with parallel matches. Okay, so and then one important point: the intervals between back-to-back matches of one specific team. How long are these breaks between matches? And in this format that I have shown you here, the minimum day of days is 3, so that is solid. And the maximum is 5 days. It's always the same interval, and this is good for tournament, how to say, tournament rhythm, you know? It's good for the teams because they have rhythm. It's not good for a team to play every second day and then have a break of 1 week. This is not good for the rhythm of the team, for the rhythm of the whole tournament. This is handled here, as you can see. And also important point, minimum of matches per team is 3 and the maximum is 7. It's the same as today. So look at our big challenges. Almost everything is handled. Almost everything is handled. Just 1 point left. And I come to that in a moment because I have an example that I've created. Here it is. And there you have the World Cup burst. I made an example. It's not what FIFA might decide on, but it's something that seemed sophisticated to me. I made in the pot allocation here, and I made an example draw. And as you can see here, I think it's a good layout here because you can see the 2 pools that are combining to a hex, the 2 twin pools like D1, D2, and look at that. You have D1 with Brazil, Honduras, Cameroon, D2 with Italy, Ireland, Iran. This hex with Brazil and Italy inside. Wow, that's hot. However, in this variation of my schedule, they don't play each other. I show you later why. In the second one, they play each other. You will have look at the other ones. You have, well, look at E, Mexico, Peru, Egypt, Belgium, Denmark, Japan. Seems quite open here. And look at B, Argentina, Portugal, Poland, South Korea, Jamaica, Burkina Faso. So very interesting hexes. And don't forget, from each hex, only 2 teams advance to the round of 16. Big competition. So here's a schedule of what I've drawn, the group phase schedule. Interesting matches. Great days of football are ahead of us, I would say. And then I let calculate it through, and these are the outcomes. Well, typically Italy reached the second round, of course, with 4 points and a 2-2 goal difference. I think it's only Italy who can manage that. But as you can see, I think mainly the favorites gone through. But if you look closely on it, you will see that after the first 2 match days of each group, there was no single team already qualified for the round of 16 because only the first 2 teams advanced. So this is a big plus compared to the World Cup of today with 32 teams, because today we have often the case, I think we have it in 25 to 30%, that one team in the schedule in the groups has already reached the next round after 2 matches, and they line up their reserve players, and this is not fair for against the other teams they've already played against. It has happened in the past, and it led to big call of unfairness, and this can hardly be the case here. In this example, not again, I emphasize this, not a single team was already qualified before the last match day, so they have to line up their full strength, and it will be great simulcast matches, parallel matches, 3 in each hex, when it is played on 3 different stadia in parallel. Broadcast will be high, will be big number of spectators in the world watching this, because I think it will be full of suspense. Our 10 big challenges, and we checked the last one of it. Enforced to line up full strength team in last group match. Very entertaining last matches. I'm sure of that. So I concluded my World Cup example. I don't think it's necessary to point out who will be the winner of it. I think we are all sticking with Gary Lineker there. Maybe I can change his saying a bit, because he said football is when whatever World Cup format you define, in the end Germany is winning it. Now let me come to the alternative modus. It is just a slight variation to what I explained right now, but it is very interesting. Imagine that we said every team of a pool played against each other, and again one opponent of the twin pool. In this variation, it is different. This variation says every team of a pool does not play the same teams of its own pool, but every single other team of its twin pool. So if we have here as example group D with D1, let me go back to it. D1 had Brazil, Honduras and Cameroon inside, and D2 had Italy, Ireland and Iran. But now it is that Brazil is facing Italy, Ireland and Iran. Honduras is facing Italy, Ireland and Iran, and Cameroon is facing Italy, Ireland and Iran. And Ireland is facing Brazil, Honduras and Cameroon. So they play each opponent of its twin group. Very, very interesting, because of that you will have in the first round this matches like this: Brazil versus Italy in the first round, and it is a hard match because the loser of it will be in hot danger of not reaching the round of 16. So the variation is just that in the alternative, in the modus, the top teams are not benefited so much because of their seedings, because of their past records. It is more even, it is more equal for also the minor teams, whereas in the original proposal, Brazil only face one team of pot Y, that was the mid-strength pot, and two teams of pot Z. So it's favoring more the big teams, the original proposal, and the alternative proposal is really equal because every team of this 48 teams in the World Cup, in the group stage, plays one top seeded team, one mid-strength team, and one team from the lower pot. So this is really fair, I would say. Whether which alternative is more interesting, I'll let it open for FIFA. Um, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you think this modus is interesting and better than those which are discussed at the moment. Maybe you give me some feedback on it. I would really enjoy it.